Hello everyone, how you all doing today? Thank you for joining us for the book launch of Grace Anigoro's book, Hey Girl. I'm really pleased to be here today, and I also want to thank Grace. It's really important to thank her because like Grace said earlier, that a lot of us have got books in us. So every single one of us have got a book in us. But for her to actually bring out that book and have something that will live after her, it is commendable, and I'm really proud of her. So I want to thank her for the hard work, for the months and months and months of collating this information, taking it out of her to share with the world. So thank you very much, Grace, and thank you all for joining us today. I really appreciate you. So my name is Mayowa Olaiya. Some of you know me already. I'm already smiling. When I say my name, I just smile. Because I actually make myself happy when I say my name. So the book, Hey Girl, here it is. Hey Girl, Amazing Secrets to Making the Most of Your Teenage Years. In my review, what I found out is, first of all, even as a woman that has lived over 3 decades on this earth, this book was still useful for me. You know, just being a woman, not a girl. I've passed my teenage years, and I found it very useful and relatable. It's relatable in the sense that, I didn't live in the same environment as Grace. I didn't grow up in the same environment as Grace, and I found every chapter, every sub chapter to be so useful, informative, and relevant. Okay. And that really surprises me because, you always think that you have different backgrounds with people, and maybe you had different challenges, or your challenge as a teenager is not the same as other teenagers. When you're growing up. Growing up for me in London, there are a lot of these things that or a lot of the content of this book that I encountered, that I felt like I didn't have anybody to talk to. I am the last born in my family, and my siblings are much older than me. So it was quite difficult to relate to them, and my friends as well. They it seems like, they don't, asking your friends certain things, you don't even know what to ask or how to address some of the issues that you're having. So this book for me was almost like a blueprint to living your life, to understanding to understanding your teenage years, to understanding the challenges that you are going to go through in all facets of life. This is what I love about this book, is that it touched on everything. It touched from boys to your body, to religion, to dealing with your parents, to dealing with your health, to dealing with relatives. It's got everything there. Your peer group, your teachers, male dealing with boy. Yeah, I mentioned boys earlier. So dealing with your father, your parents, your mother as well. It touches on every aspect. And as a young person, there's a lot that is going on in your head, especially when teenage years. There's so much happening, happening in terms of your body, your chemistry, your biology, that you're reckoning with. Then you're reckoning with also with the cues that are in society. So the cues of, your what is required of you, your responsibility as a young person to your family, your responsibility to your friends, your responsibility to your teachers, your responsibility to so many other people, and you can't get lost in that. So this book kind of it serves like, I mentioned a blueprint, but it serves like something, that a companion. Yeah, I think is like a companion to you growing up, and it would still help even as adults. So I would urge mothers as well, and fathers and brothers, okay, even though it says hey girl. Somebody mentioned in the question earlier that why isn't a book written about boys? Well, we could say, why isn't a book written about fathers or mothers, or one at a time? I'm sure books about boys as well are available, or you also can write books about boys if you so incline. But finding somebody that's taking their time to write about girls is really important. And I want to encourage even boys to read this. I know it says, "Hey, girl, let just not look at that alone." If you want to understand the opposite sex as well, if you want to understand your friends, your female friends as a boy, you could give it a read. You might actually be able to say, right, this also happens to me as a boy. I also go through this challenge as a boy, because as a female, I can't really say I understand truly what a male child or a boy child goes through. But if you read this, you can also understand. You can help us to compare and contrast if this is some of the things that you go through as a boy. But the most important thing is that you would be able to understand girls, to understand other people, and also to help them to be a better friend, to be a better brother, to be a better male friend, to be a better companion. So I think that everybody should read this. Again, the people that I also want to urge to read this book are parents, both mothers and fathers, or guidance, anybody that is looking after a young person or a teenager. I want you to read this so that you can have an understanding of what the contents are, and you can help to stay and have discussion with your young people. You can sit with them and maybe share the book and have like a book reading club in the house or in the home, where you would go through this book together as a family and discuss aspect of what Grace has written in this book. And maybe you would come up with new things as well that you can share on the social media about this book. And also, I want to encourage people also to please leave a review. So when you read this book or you buy this book on Amazon, please leave a review so that you can help other people that probably not your friend on Facebook. Even if you're sharing, that will not be able to see it. But if you leave a review on Amazon, they will be able to read that review without even knowing you or knowing where you are, and then that will help or encourage them to understand the content of the book and share this book with other people. But I really love this book. I love so many aspects of it. I can talk a lot, so I can be here forever just telling you chapter by chapter what I love about the book, the ease of reading the book as well. I couldn't put it down. At first it was I was very busy where I didn't read it for a couple of weeks after getting the copy. But the day that I got the copy, I didn't put it down for the whole day. I read the whole content. It's easy to read. It's that easy to read. It took me 2 days to read it because I wasn't prepared on the first day that I wouldn't be able to put it down. And eventually I finished reading it the following day. So it was really engaging book for me. The other thing that you will find in this book, which I love, is it's almost like a workbook as well. There are spaces in the book where you can write, you can respond to questions that are being asked by the author. So it's part of it. It's like reflection. So you can write things down. You can. There's one reflection here. How do you define yourself? For example, how have you experienced an identity crisis? What are the things about girls that you don't like? Even as a girl, what you don't like as a girl. What are the things you notice about yourself that make you who you are? So, reflecting on these questions, we don't ask ourselves this question: how do you define yourself as a teenager? I don't think many teenagers defines themselves. They just kind of go with a script, and I don't know how it is where you are, but here in England, in London to be precise, I see a lot of teenagers. They dress the same way, their hair is the same, they wear the same colors, they wear the same trainers. Their identity is in their friends. It's not even in them, and those friends as well. It's like the blind leading the blind. So asking this type of question to a young person, or a young person asking themselves that question, is really important. That how do you see yourself? It's something that you need to ask. And it's not just teenagers, but I think teenagers that have this book, they will have a head start. Because for me, as a young lady, it's taking me decades, you know, and I'm talking at least 3 decades before I'm able to answer these questions. So for me, it's also like having this book, reading this book is like a head start in life. You are years ahead of your peers, or you're years ahead of 98% of the population. You know, once you read this book and you have that consciousness of the content of this book, you will be automatically ahead, you know, because that question, what you read in that book, in this book, will stick to you. You might not even be able to answer that question immediately, but just having that question, knowing what you didn't know before, and knowing that you could ask this question, it's is a plus in life. So I really urge anyone that is listening to me now, please share this book. And parents, please, I would urge you to read this book as well. Share it with your young ones. Let them read it. If any boy child as well wants to read it, don't discourage them. Let them read it as well, and have discussion about it. So not just leave them in their own devices to read it. Once you've read it and your young person is reading it, or your teenage child is reading it, you can have discussion, have conversation about it. And I know that this book will really improve your life, you know, in every way. Thank you so much, guys. Yeah, thank you very much, everybody. So I have so much to say, but you know, we don't want to keep you for long, and we have other people that wants to speak. So I'm just going to now play the trailer. I'm going to play the trailer for you, and the next speaker will be here. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all for listening and for joining us for this online, or should I say virtual book launch today. And the book launch, the book we're launching today is Hey Girl, Amazing Secrets to Living to making the most out of your teenage years, and is written by Grace Anigoro. Thank you very much for joining, and I will proceed to the trailer.